Welcome to trial 3. So in this trial we're looking at Paradigm plus and minus broadleaf mixing partners, and really what we're looking at here is weed spectrum and crop selectivity. So they're the key elements that we're evaluating. What's Paradigm? It's a combination of Flagellam and Arylex, and it's basically a versatile broad spectrum weed control in forage and cereals grown for grain. Dead nettle, Fumetry, Mexican poppy, mallow, brassicas, plus and minus mixing partners to broaden the weed control spectrum. So it's very versatile in what it controls. Here in the northern system, dead nettle, Mexican poppy on certain soil types are driver weeds, and that really has shaped Paradigm and its adoption in the north. In this trial here, we're looking at evaluating generic Flagellam plus and minus MCPA LVE as a key element. Flagellam is an active that is obviously in Paradigm, and it's been included in the stable of our products back in the years gone by, such as Torpedo and Conclude back in 2007. But really the weed control spectrum in mixtures with chlorpyrrolate or mixtures with MCPA LVE, it really did not represent an opportunity for the weed control spectrum that we have here in the northern system. So when we've partnered it up with Arylex, so it's Flagellam Arylex equals Paradigm, is a real winning combination when we're looking at achieving weed spectrum in crops grown for forage or cereal crops grown for grain. So the details as to this trial, the application, I sprayed it on the 6th of August. Now the focus of this is larger weeds. And as we spoke to you up the other end of the trial, having no crop competition does affect the overall result of the weed control. And we certainly see that with wireweed as the size of the weeds get larger as we progress down the timeline. Well, in terms of some of the weeds we've got here, turnip were 9 to 10 leaf, wireweed was 2 to 7 leaf. Now 7 leaf wireweed is certainly, when you're not using metsulfuron in mixes, is starting to become a real challenge. South thistle were 2 to 5 leaf, so they were about 10 to 15 centimetres in diameter. Dead nettle was 2 to 18 leaf, and certainly 18 leaf dead nettle is a big challenge, and you'll see the power of Arylex and what it brings to our mixes. Climbing buckwheat was 2 to 4 leaf, so that sort of it's in that smaller range, but there was certainly a lot of a big population coming through. And the final one was prickly lettuce, a 2 to 12 leaf. There were split germinations there over the timeline. So what we're looking in plot 3, treatment 3 is priority alone. So priority plus the adjuvant, and what we can see is very good volunteer legume control. And also at the back here, which is hard to see, and you'll see on the overlay, is that the sub-zero brassica control has been pretty good as well. What it is missing is the dead nettle, and we know that because obviously we've been selling products containing Flagellam in different mixtures in the past, and we know that it doesn't work on dead nettle. And obviously what we can see here also is that the prickly lettuce is missing that as well. So yes, it's a very handy herbicide for use on the volunteer legumes and some brassicas that are obviously not Clearfield tolerant, but yeah, it's got its limitations. So I'm standing in treatment 8 or 108, and this is the best treatment by far of the trial for the broadest weed control spectrum, because that was the objective at the start, was to look at the weed spectrum and crop selectivity. So this is Paradigm, Starain and MCPA LVE, and this has achieved of the trial the best overall control of all the weeds that were presented in this treatment. The Starain is going to make sure that the climbing buckwheat is controlled, and as we can see at the back of the plot here, where we've actually achieving crop competition, even though it's on an interrow of the beds, we can see here pretty clearly that the wireweed is achieving probably a bit better than suppression. It's probably edging on good control. So it's a difficult one to conduct these trials with open beds of weeds and crop and not having crop competition. But in terms of for an extension exercise, having these open beds is the best way to demonstrate the efficacy of these products. When we're looking at crop selectivity, Paradigm Plus MCPA is very, very soft and selective, and that is something that we'd like to reinforce as an outcome of this trial.